Have a wonderful and meaningful Shabbos. There are two kinds of people: those that live in the present, those that live in the past, present, and the future. All of reality shows that when empires are built based on good ideas, usually some kind of moral virtue that brings everyone together, then we become lazy and stupid. And then some evil force, as we're seeing clearly in Europe right now, in New York. Obviously, they've tried to do it in Israel multiple times, but God has protected us, seeks to annihilate. And while I'm not here to be political, I'm here just to be basically to help us literally live and survive. And the bottom line is that the left may seem cool, I'm a professor, I'm a this and that. At the end of the day, all it is stupidity. It says, if you if you have mercy on evil, you're being evil to the merciful. In fact, it goes even worse than that. If you have mercy to the evil, eventually you'll end up being evil yourself to the merciful, because mercy to the evil is not because you are kind and compassionate. It's because you are afraid and not courageous. To have courage is to be able to discern. The first blessing we make in the morning is we thank God for the rooster that can discern, because the red light, the first rays of the sun, it's like a red, I don't know if it's infrared, some kind of red tilt or something comes, and that produces its ability to realize that it's like sunrise, and it crows in the morning. So the point is, even a little rooster can tell the difference between light and darkness. The first thing a human being has to do, the first thing that God made was light and darkness. You have to be able to tell. And the Rashi says, Elu Maisayim, these were the deeds of the righteous and the deeds of the wicked. And they say hindsight is 20/20. We have 5,786 years of being able to look back. In our own century, literally in our own century, at least the last 100 years, or a drop more, we've had world wars, right? World wars over what? Over the stupid arrogance of Germany. One guy caused, communism. 100 million people died from that evil. The terrorism, killing people all day, everywhere around the world. Stupidity and evil is real. And it doesn't take a genius to see it. But the reason people don't see it is because they don't want to get out of their comfort zone. My wife, who's a great scholar, said, the previous Rebbe said, there's nothing worse than being in prison, but there's something good about it. He says, in every evil there's good, and in every good there's evil. That you become focused. We see the hostages coming out, tremendous focus and connection to God. And then you see people that are tranquil. Things are good. What's the problem with tranquility? The problem with tranquility is that when you're tranquil, you become complacent. You become a person that doesn't want to change. And because of that, the people that are angry and vicious and believe in violence, as Islam jihad means to submit people, real Islam believes that you're either at peace, which means everybody in the country has submitted to Sharia law, or you're at war. And that's why they're at war with any Muslim country that is not completely dedicated to Sharia law. The Muslim Brotherhood is in Egypt. They've been having to fight. It started in Egypt, and Hamas and PA, everything, Qaeda, they all come from this Muslim Brotherhood. It's actually in the State Department as we speak right now. They've infiltrated. The Egyptian newspaper said that Obama was in fact part of the Muslim Brotherhood, which makes a lot of sense because he put them in power. He did everything to help radical Islam. And he made normal people, even Jewish people, believe that the people that want to kill them are the heroes. It's like exactly what communism did. It kills people, but it made people think that they're the heroes, and the people that are defending your life, they're patriots, the people that care about you and want to protect you, they're the villains. It's like just unbelievable. And it's all based on something called Russian disinformation. You have to study that. And Russia's been, the whole idea that there's even a Palestinian is just a made-up lie. The ancient Philistines that they say they're part of disappeared 2,500 years ago, and you can fact-check that. An entire people made up, just a lie. And so, in the end of the day, the point that I want to bring out here is that this week's Parsha, because when we're looking for truth and we're looking for growth, we're looking for what to do in life, you have to know what God says. What God says is the goal of life is don't be a follower. Abraham changed the world, not by following it, but by leading it. And in order to lead the world, you have to have independent thinking. Many of the greatest people, they spent years alone. I may say myself, it was a difficult time in my life, kind of almost living in an abandoned building for like 2 years. But it was actually part of the greatest time in my life, because in that sense of isolation and separation, I fully developed my own, if you want to call it, belief system, my own value system, my own sense of right and wrong. As long as we're with the group, and this is why many people fail, and that's how we get brainwashed, is there's something called a groupthink, and they infiltrate. That's what the Russian disinformation does. It infiltrates the groupthink. It promoted this whole concept of gay. Of course, there are always people that are gay, but it was never somehow a noble thing. Just because I like chicken doesn't make me a chicken. And they basically were seeking ways of destroying the society from within. And you can look this up. You could read disinformation from Ian Pacipo, who's the greatest 2-star general that defected to the West, and other spies. In fact, I met a Russian Jew and who became religious. I said, "What did you become? What made you religious?" He said, "Well, I saw one of the spies that defected to the West, and he spoke about this in the 1970s, what they were doing." And he said, "I realized that all of this liberal ideology that I had bought in university was all Russian disinformation. I had a choice. Would I be the victim of murderers and their campaign to make me basically destroy myself and my society, or would I get out of that?" And that's what this week's Parsha, and that's what being a Jew, that's what being a human is all about. Being able to say, no, I'm not going to be a victim of lies. I am going to stand for the truth. And if this is too much to handle, I'll give you one simple recipe, and it goes like this. Choose to find the truth. Don't even believe what I'm saying, but you have to start with one premise, which is, I don't know the truth, and I need to find it. And as long as you're sincere in your seeking, as most people in the world, you will come to the realization there's a God. He's personal, he's lovable, he loves us, and he's like Abraham. He's here to help us grow. So may have an amazing, beautiful Shabbos, and may we take this message, and may we all bring positive energy. And literally, it's a life and death situation, because as Einstein said, they asked him how the Holocaust happened. So he said, sometimes people don't think. And he said, two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity. And I have my doubts about the former. So just being stupid is very dangerous, because what it does, it allows the evil to take over. And once they're in power, once the communism took over, it took 70 years and at least 50 million people dying before it changed. Once, like Churchill said, if you're wise, you can win the war when you don't have to kill for it. You could just say, we're in charge, and what you're saying is a lie. No. But if you're a fool, you accept the lie, you give them the power, and then when millions of people are dead, then you have to take up arms, and then you have to fight. So let us be smart, let us be wise, let us realize the truth, the difference between light and darkness. Thank you for watching.